The man discovered something eerie during his adventure. Inside the cave stood a motionless person. He greeted the person, however, there was no response. Cautiously, he stepped deeper into the cave, but after just a few steps, an invisible force blocked his way. Now, Nick found it even more unbelievable. He reached out and touched it, discovering that the energy before him had substance. Like an invisible wall of air, every step forward became increasingly difficult. Overcoming his fear, he pressed on. That's when Nick noticed in horror. The person had started to move, slowly. The moment he fully crossed the air wall, the person suddenly strode forward. Since the stranger was unknown, and had a gun at his waist, Nick didn't dare to follow recklessly. Before long, the figure disappeared into the darkness. As Nick hesitated whether to pursue, something eerie happened behind him. The cave entrance flickered with light. At the same time, a terrifying scream echoed from the depths. Terrified, Nick bolted toward the exit. Luckily, he made it out unscathed. However, he was filled with confusion. Before entering the cave, it was noon. He had only been inside for 3 minutes. But now, the outside world was shrouded in darkness. In disbelief, he ran toward his car, only to find it covered in vines and weeds. Nick tried to start the car and leave, but the battery was completely dead. That's when he noticed his work photo, which had started to yellow from oxidation. Everything pointed to one bizarre fact. As if centuries had passed. Stunned, Nick searched the surroundings for clues. Nearby, he spotted an off-road vehicle. Seeing no one around, Nick decided to remove its battery and install it in his own car. He noticed that this vehicle, too, was covered in overgrown vegetation. Nick clearly remembered. This car wasn't here when he arrived. Then, a bag inside the car caught his attention. He brushed off the dirt covering it. To his shock, it was his student's backpack. Only now did Nick realize the gravity of the situation. He suspected that after he entered the cave, his students had come looking for him. It seemed they, too, had entered the cave. With this thought, he stepped back inside, this time carrying a large number of glow sticks. He tossed them along the way, marking a path to find his way out. However, as he neared the air wall, the glow sticks eerily floated in midair. He reached out to grab one, only to see it drift forward. The moment it crossed the air wall, it suddenly fell to the ground. Just then, the cave entrance flickered again. But this time, Nick didn't retreat. Instead, he pressed forward, into the depths of the cave.